How's it going? All right, hey everybody, my name's Brock. I'm the owner of Bladesmith of Woodson Knife Co. Hi, Misha. Come here. Say hi. It's my service dog, Mishka. All right, so today I'm working on a couple billets. I've already got one started. It is a brass Damascus billet. I'm just drawing it out. I need to get it really thin. It's going to be the cladding on a sanmai, meaning the jacket. Sanmai means 3 layers. I think it's going to be 3 layers. This may end up being a gomai. So, what I'm working on right now is actually for my last blade standing competition sword. I've got a design. It took quite a while for me to really settle on a design. I knew what kind of pattern steel I wanted. I just didn't know what kind of sword I wanted to do. And so, let me grab the drawing. So, I'm going to be doing a wakizashi. So this is actual size. So the parameters for last blade standing are max 27 inches overall. So it really limits the kind of sword that I wanted to do. Originally I was hoping to do like a Viking sword, but at that size it's just going to look funny. I could have done a sax, but I wanted something a little flashier. So anyway, so I'm working on that billet. I've also got another billet sitting in kerosene right now. It is a sanmai with a Damascus cladding, 200 layers of Damascus on each side of ADCRV2 or W2. I think it's ADCRV2. But anyway, so with the billet I'm working on right now, I'm trying to draw it out, make it decently thin. Not quite sure how thin I want to go. But you take a look, see how we're doing. Yep. All right, so with the billet I'm working on right now, this brass Damascus, it's layers of brass and 10A4. 10A4 is a high carbon steel, and it will darken when exposed to acid. So when this is done, it's going to have dark line, gold line, dark, that kind of pattern. Done some before. Actually, I'll show you guys an example. It's not exactly what I'm going for, but it's close. So you can see there's a copper shim and then brass Damascus on the outside. So I haven't decided if I want to do the copper shim or not. I've probably will, because copper's kind of my thing. At least copper layers are kind of my thing. So yeah, with this sword design, I've got a basic idea. I've got the size, the general design down now, which is cool. But I'm still going to kind of wing it, except when I get down to the handle. I'm going to have to do a lot of research on that, doing that wrap correctly, because I've never done one. I have the stuff to do it, I've just never done it. After I get this brass Damascus billet drawn out to where I want it, I'm going to start on this other sand mine. That's also going to be a sword, but that sword's for a special order. It's going to be much larger. So over the next few months, I'm going to be working on 2 swords. Lots of work, and there's going to be a lot of grinding, but it should make for good content, and I think it's kind of fun. Let's see how we're doing here. Okay. All right, so right now I'm running the forge right about 1800 degrees. Now this is red brass in there, so the melting temperature I think is right about 1880 degrees if I remember right. I want to stay much below that because you don't want to actually melt the brass, the non-ferrous metal. It's just not going to stick together if you do that. So just like when I do my copper kumai or any kind of my layered steel with copper in it, I've got do not exceed temperature. She hears me talking and she thinks I'm talking to her sometimes. So anyways, just like when I'm doing my kumai, I've got do not exceed temperature. In this case, I'm trying to stay around 1800. My do not exceed is like 1830, roughly. So with this, because of the lower temperature, that steel doesn't want to move quite as quickly. And so it's going to take a little bit longer to get it to where I want, but it's already pretty well started, so it's not going to take that long. Open up the shop door a little more. Oh, come on. There we go. All right. So how was everybody's weekend? What's your deal, huh? Yes, you're Booker off. Camera back over here. we go. Not yet. Yep. Man's best friend. Yeah, she is. So Mishka's my service dog, and so she goes everywhere with me. In fact, if there are times where I don't take her for whatever reason, I'm in trouble when I get home. Alright, hey everybody, welcome to my Monday Live. Today we are forging out a couple billets. One of them's already been started. We're just trying to get the length and the thickness right. Like I was saying earlier, it's going to be a cladding, meaning the outside of a billet or the jacket. I have another billet sitting in kerosene, ready to go. It is a San Mai with 80 CRB2 core, and each side has 200 layers of Damascus. So that's going to be a pretty cool pattern. Both of what I'm working on right now are for swords. Both billets are going to be for swords. The one I'm messing with right now is for my Last Blade Standing Season 3 sword. The other one is for a special order. This is the start of a lot of work. Now, the special order sword I've already been working on. I did the Damascus and a few other things for it, and so this is just the next step. Savage, how you doing? As far as the Last Blade Standing, that competition just started this past Saturday. As far as when we Smiths can actually get started on our projects. So got 90 days, I think it is, from start, and I'm going to be doing a Japanese wakizashi. Yeah, I think that's right. So it's basically like a shorter katana. The blade length is going to be right about 19-20 inches. So I'm on the minimum side of the blade length for the parameters in the competition, but I want to have enough for the handle. And so I'm trying to shoot for about 20 inches on the blade length and give me, at least 6 inches or more, a little extra room on the handle. Where did I get the apron? It was actually a gift. What is it? Forge Aprons. That's who makes these. They're really nice. Very popular. I don't know how much they cost because I haven't looked, but it was a gift. So, but I know there's a really cool story behind their business, and they make some really nice aprons. So yeah, check out Forged Aprons. What I'm doing off camera is flipping the billet around. I use my anvil to do it. So with the last blade standing competition, 19 and 22. Yeah, fine. Yeah, those are the specs. So let me grab my. I drew this up today because I decided last night what exactly I wanted. So I don't know if I'm going to stick with that guard design. It'll probably be different. But as part of the competition, we have to utilize a non-ferrous metal, nickel, copper, brass, or aluminum. And it doesn't have to be in the blade, but because that's kind of my thing, I feel like I have to. So what my thought is with this brass Damascus, I'm going to make it pretty thin, and when it's on the cladding, there's just going to be a little bit on the outside of the blade. And the reason for that is one of the tests that they are going to be doing on these swords is a 30-degree bend test. I want to make sure that that non-ferrous metal is as thin as possible on the outside, and I have a really thick, steady core. That way I don't risk breakage, because in my experience doing kumais, if your jacket is as thick, or both sides of the jacket combined are thicker than the core, you're usually going to break once you do like a 20 to 30 bend test. I haven't done a ton of experiment with that, but just the little bit that I have done, it's a thing. And why I think that isn't because the non-ferrous metal detracts from the strength of the steel. I think it's because it doesn't want to move when it bends at the same rate as the steel, or the opposite. The steel doesn't want to move as easily as the copper, which is actually probably what it is, or non-ferrous metal. And that can cause it to break. That's my thought. Again, I haven't done a ton of testing on it, but with what I have done, that's kind of my theory. So I want to make sure, in this case, my brass Damascus is barely going to be there. I'm going to grind off almost all of it. Well, I would say I'm going to grind off most of it, not almost all of it, because I still want that pattern there. But I haven't decided if I'm going to do a copper shim or not, so we'll see. What bracket am I in? I know the first bracket. I don't remember what it's like brass, copper, that kind of thing. I just don't remember the name of the bracket. But if I remember right, it was the top bracket, top left. So, all right, let's run this again. Now I know this billet looks really cold, but it's still got some glow to it. It just doesn't show up through the camera. Anytime I watch another bladesmith forging something, and it starts to look like it's way too cold to be hitting, I got to tell myself, well, it doesn't look right because of the camera. for whatever reason, it just looks colder through the camera. You don't see as much of that orange glow. But yeah, so Last Blade Sing Season 3 competition is in full swing. It's really nice because we have plenty of time to, build our projects, and I don't feel like I'm going to be rushed, which is cool. Still, I mean, it's only 3 months, but usually I'm going to take longer than that to make a sword, but I can do it. All right, hey, for everybody just joining, my name's Brock. I'm the owner and bladesmith of Woodson Knife Co. Right now I'm working on a billet of brass Damascus that I'm going to be utilizing in my Last Blade Standing Season 3 competition sword. Just trying to draw this billet out, make it as the thickness I want. I'm really going for the length more than anything else. And once that's done, I've got a Sanmai that is also for a sword, a special order sword, that I'm going to be working on today as well. Right now, that billet's all set up. It's got 100 layers of Damascus, or 200 layers of Damascus on each side of an 80 CRB2 core. It's sitting in kerosene right now, right there. So once I'm done with this billet and I can crank up that temperature, we'll be working on that. Alright, so my thought with this is, say my core material, when I start the billet is 1/4 inch thick. I want my jacket, this brass Damascus, to be each side less than half of that thickness, or close to half of that thickness. That way it's always going to be thinner than the core. And when I go to shape and grind and all that, I'm going to grind through most of that jacket, just leaving a little bit of the brass Damascus on the highs of the blade, so towards kind of the spine. And I'm hoping that that won't compromise the strength at all, because I'm making it so thin, so it's still going to have a lot of flex to it. All right, hey everybody, if you don't already follow me, smash that follow button. Also, please do me a favor, hit the like button. The more times you hit the like button, the more likes I get, meaning the more likely I am to show up on other people's For You page, which in turn helps me grow. And I really appreciate the help. Open up the shop door a little bit more. It's starting to get warm in here. So in the winter time, I actually bring the forge inside, and we're starting to get cold, so I have the forge inside, and I just opened the door about 1 foot or 2, start it, and then as it warms up in the shop, I open the door up a little bit more. All right, hey, also, if you guys have any questions or comments about what I'm doing, put them in the comments. I will answer them. Columbia, how you doing? So one of the things I really like about this app is you get people from all over the world. It is really cool. I've had people from, Finland, Brazil, Colombia, everywhere. Salt Lake City, how you doing? So this piece of equipment that I'm using right now is called a rolling mill. I love it because when I've got a billet to, say about 1/4 inch thick and I need to draw it out, one of the things that's really hard is getting that billet even, the thickness of that billet even all the way down. This makes it a cinch. Hey Brad, how you doing? Good, I'm glad to hear it. Brad, I hope everything's going good for you now. Sorry, I'm just keeping an eye on the temperature because I'm working with brass. It's crucial that I don't melt it, because if I melt that brass, that whole billet is just going to fall apart. Yeah, scary sharp. That's what I do. Actually, not too long ago, I had somebody purchase one of my knives and then ask me to make it less sharp because she was afraid she was going to cut herself with it. But cutting yourself with an extremely sharp knife is better, or at least so they say, than a dull knife. Check something real quick. Be right back. All right, so this is actually the length I need. Thickness is fine. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to throw it in the forge, get it nice and hot, flatten it with the flattening dies on my press, heat it up one more time, and then throw it in my kiln to anneal. There we go. All right, hey everybody, remember, if you get a chance, hit that like button. The more times you do it, the better. Helps me show up on other people's For You page, and I really appreciate it. And if you don't already follow me, hit that follow button. I do lives every Monday here on TikTok, starting at usually about 10 a.m. Pacific. How long it goes varies each time. It also depends on how much energy I have. With this last blade standing competition, Semper Fi. Yeah, old belt saw, okay. With this last blade standing season 3 competition, a lot of it's going to be done over on YouTube. And one of the big reasons for that is TikTok sucks for knife makers. We get flagged all the time for posting something about a knife. It's just how their algorithm works. Usually it gets unflagged in review, but still, they're going to be doing a lot of stuff over on YouTube. So go check that out if you can. All right. Like I said, after this, I'm going to throw this in the kiln. It's going to anneal. Old saw blades are the best material for blades. Is that what you're saying? So anyways, I'm going to put it in the kiln to anneal. And I'm going to get the forge heated up to about 2100 degrees. Then we're going to put that other billet in that's currently soaking in kerosene and start drawing that thing out. Let's see, what do you guys think of my weapons wall? It's not a very big one, but well, if you're gonna make a knife, you gotta learn how to make the handle too. Handles really aren't that hard. They take practice. Crank up the gas. Crank it up to 10, literally. 10 on the dial. Alright. So, I said a minute ago, I've got that other billet sitting in kerosene right now. Yeah, I've made swords, and I'm actually working on 2 swords right now. That billet I just put in is it's a brass Damascus that's going to be the cladding on my wakizashi, which I am making for Last Blade Standing Season 3 competition. This other billet that is going to go in as soon as the forge is up to temp is for a special order sword. I am in the US. Yes, I am forge welding. The billet I'm going to start here in a second, it's It's a sanmai, which means 3 layers. The core is 80 CRV2. The outside, both sides, are 200 layers of Damascus. So I've got 400 total layers of Damascus around 80 CRV2 core. Should make for a really nice sword with a lot of flex and a lot of durability. See daylight in your side. Oh. Thank you. Game of Thrones fan? I am, yeah. I'm a bit of a nerd though, so. Okay, so no, neither of them are secret. The question is what kind of sword. So for Last Blade Standing, I am making a wakizashi, which is a shorter Japanese sword. I've got it drawn up. I've got it drawn up to scale. This is probably going to be different. I don't know if I like that guard. But yeah, that's a wakizashi. And the other sword that I'm working on that we're going to start here in a minute, well, we're going to start this segment of the billet here in a minute, is a much longer sword. No idea who you are. I get people asked to join my live to, pop up and be able to talk in the live without saying anything to me, and it's weird. Without asking, and it's people I don't know. But anyways, so the other sword that I'm doing is recreation, or at least my take on the Golden Crane sword from Wheel of Time. Lake Havasu. Yeah, I like that guard, but I don't at the same time. I need to refine that design, and I'm just not quite sure which direction I want to go with it. I really want to make some stuff that's eye-catching. In this competition, I'm going up against some very high-profile bladesmiths, likes of Ben Abbott and several others. And so I need to make sure that I bring my A game. Yeah. I've always been into sci-fi. And now the Wheel of Time sword, that's a special order. A customer came to me and asked for that to be built. All right, this is getting way too hot. I gotta open the shop door again. All the way this time. All right, so we are sitting at 2,150 degrees. So we're ready to put that billet in. Over here. Doesn't seem like much. Doesn't seem like a very big billet for a sword, but that's plenty. Katana. Katanas are going to start like a traditional katana. It's going to start around $6,000 or more. There's so much work that goes into them. Lots and lots of time. So what I was doing is I was adjusting the airflow. I want to have a minimum amount of airflow going into there and still keep the forge operating properly. What this does is creates a reducing flame. So I'm starving the inside of the forge for oxygen. Oxygen is the enemy of welding, so that's a good thing for what we're doing. We're forge welding. I soak this billet in kerosene. I do that on all my billets. I don't use flux unless it's kind of an emergency. Like I don't have any other option. I've only used flux a few times, and they were like small imperfections I was fixing. What the kerosene does is it's a hydrocarbon. So as it burns, not only does it eat all the oxygen around it, but it leaves behind carbon. Carbon is good for high carbon steel. It's good for swords, knives, all that stuff. So what's leaving behind is beneficial to the billet. And it's eating all that oxygen. We've already got a reducing flame, so we should have no problem forge welding. And with the reducing flame, what I'm looking for is, I call it dragon's breath. I can see flame coming out from around the bricks and the doors and such on the forge. Yeah, and I was just thinking, I bet I could do a mono steel katana for closer to 5. Yeah, like at a W2, so it has a cool hamon. Or 2,200 degrees, over 2,200 degrees, so I just cut the gas back and it's slowly dropping down. 2,200 degrees is more than we need. I like to be, around 2,100. If I'm close to 22, it's fine, but anything past that, it's not needed. It doesn't really help. But by lowering that temperature, I can save some of my propane. Hey, I see those likes. I really appreciate them. Keep them coming. The more likes I get, the more likely I am to show up on other people's For You page. So pound on that like button. And if you don't already follow me, hit the follow button. So I'm fighting with the temperature right now, just because I'm trying to tune it in. So as I turn the air down and reduce how much airflow is going in there, the temperature starts spiking. So I got to turn the gas down until we hit that nice even medium. So, and the reason I know what temperature I'm at, should probably talk about that. So I've got a digital readout right here. In the top of my forge, I have a K-type thermocouple or temperature probe. So that's how I know what temperature the forge is at, which is huge for me because I do a lot with brass and copper, and you have to make sure you don't exceed certain temperatures, or else you'll just melt everything out and it's ruined. And that's a good way to waste a lot of money and material. Especially because at that point, that whole billet's ruined. You're not going to be able to use the steel out of it either. I mean, I guess unless you did it on the go, like if you built the billet, put it in, and melted it before you pressed it, you might be able to save the steel and grind off the non-ferrous metal. Alright, so I'm going to rotate the billet. It does have a little bit of shadowing still. And I want to make sure the entire billet is the same color, that real bright yellow, lemony color. Any kind of shadows mean that there's a difference in temperature inside the billet, which can hinder forge welding. And again, if you guys have any questions at all, put them in the comments. I will answer them. What kind of knife do I make? All sorts. I do a lot of kitchen knives and everyday carry knives, hunting knives, swords, everything. Fancy weapons, you name it. So if you go to my website, woodsonKnifeco.com, you can go through my photo gallery, which I need to update. Man, I haven't put any new pictures in the photo gallery in a couple months. So I'll try to get some new pictures in there this week. So I'll show you guys a knife I just finished. I did post a video about this doing a chop test, but this is a Damascus clad buoy with nickel shim. And this little piece right here is mammoth molar, stainless guard, and spalted hackberry for the wood. And of course a nice leather sheath. But I do a lot of stuff like this, chef's knives. What I'm working on right now is for a sword. We've got a billet of San Mai in there, and it's ready to go for the press. So I'm going to move the camera back a little bit. We're going to do our initial forge press with the flattening dies. Jonah, not necessarily. There's lots of different kinds of steel out there. A lot of people do chef's knives out of stainless steel. I do as well. I do chef's knives out of 52-100 a lot, which is really hard steel. You're not going to use 52-100 on a sword. There's steels out there that have things that they are better for than other things. For the most part, you do have some steels, there that can pretty much do it all. Like ADCRV2 is one of those. You can use it in chef's knives, and it does great. You can use it in swords, and it does great. It's just one of those steels that's great all around. Hey, Ironborn, I saw your TikTok about how you got your name. That was hilarious, man. And you're doing Last Blade Standing as well, if I remember right, correct? If he's still on here. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching. My name is Brock. I am the owner and bladesmith of Woodson Knife Co. Right now, I'm working on a San Mai billet that is going to be used in a sword project, custom order that I've got going. San Mai means 3 layers. The core is ADCRV2, and then each side is 200 layers of Damascus, 15N20 and 10A4 Damascus, which is pretty common. That's run-of-the-mill Damascus. Nothing special, other than the fact it's Damascus. Just a little bit longer, and then we'll run through with another run on the flattening dies. All I'm trying to do is set those forge welds right now. Thank you. Yeah, this was actually a gift. It is made by Forge Aprons. Do not know how much they cost because this was a gift, but they're really well made. Yep. Well, Wildfire, I'm doing a wakizashi. So far, all I know is it's going to have brass Damascus cladding. And that's it. I haven't decided anything else. I'm still deciding if I want the core to be monosteel or a Damascus, if I want to do copper shims. I don't know. And I tend to be kind of a fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy. You know, especially when it comes to something like this. I'll make a design. Usually I don't even draw a picture. I just have it in my head. But this time I wanted to scale drawing. And so I did that, and I like the way it looks. But I have to make sure whatever non-ferrous metal I use is really thin and on the outside of that blade. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about doing kumais, and kumai makes me a little nervous doing a traditional kumai because one of the tests that we're doing is a 30-degree bend test, and in my experience, kumai does not bend as well as other layered steel. And so what I'm trying to do is I still want to have those layers of non-ferrous metal in the blade itself, because it's kind of my thing, but I want them really thin, and I want to be able to almost grind them completely off, where they're just at the top of the blade. Thank you, I really appreciate that. Yeah, and I feel because of how many people I heard talk about doing kumai, I needed to do something completely different. Well, not completely different, but to step it up a little bit. Check this. Yeah, I think we're going to move over to the power hammer. But I gotta go get rid of some coffee. I'll be right back. And the back. Before I do anything, we're going to put some more oil in this. Because I keep forgetting to do it. This funnel will work. Barely, but yes. Probably gonna make a mess, but whatever. There we go. Forgot where I set the cap. Good. How's that? Now what I should do is grind off my welds, because I do have welds there in the center. I think we're going to get them a little thinner first. This one's not fully to the surface. That is a big piece of scale. Still warm. All right, hey everybody, thanks for watching the live. Do me a favor, if you don't already follow me, hit that follow button. Is it on this side or that side? I don't know from your guys' viewing point which side it's on. From my viewing point, it'd be over here. But anyways, hit the follow button. Also, please do me a favor, if you're enjoying this, hit that like button as many times as you can. The more times you do it, the better. Boy, we dropped off real quick. We're down to only 17 people in here. Oh, 19. It's funny, as soon as I went to the power hammer, actually it was probably when I took a leak. Everybody left. That's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this billet out, not just on the flat, but on the sides. So I'm going to bring it down in width and in thickness. And when I get to the point where those welds that I did to hold the billet together are completely flush with the sides, I'll go and grind them off, because that's not metal that I want to end up as part of the sword when it's done. But when they're flat and I've worked the steel and they're completely on the edge, they'll grind off really quickly. Work on a paring knife. Yeah, I was doing that last week. Oh, actually, I just remembered, I got a bunch of knives to heat treat. I already have them loaded up. I did it Friday because I didn't feel like heat treating them, but I've already got them set in the kiln. I just got to turn the bad boy on and have time to actually pay attention to it. A wee side project, right on. All right, so for those of you just coming in, earlier I worked a little bit on a billet of brass Damascus. That's going to be for the cladding on my Last Blade Standing Season 3 sword. Right now I'm working on another sword, which is a special order, which is a Sanmai with regular Damascus cladding. Bug project. Oh yeah, that's my daughter's. She hasn't done anything on it in about a month, but things have been really busy, and we had colds going through our house quite a bit in the past couple months. Everybody's been sick, especially me. hopefully I'm over the hump and not going to be sick anymore, but we'll see. All right, let me grab this billet. Hawaiian style dry. I'm not sure I know what that looks like. I'm curious. Yeah, so for my Beetle project, I'm dropping a Subaru motor in it and a Subaru 5-speed. I really want fuel injection and a turbo, so why not? TKE? Oh, the kitchen engine, duh. Oh. I don't know why, but that took way too long to click. Cool, yeah. Yeah, I like the way that one turned out with the zebra wood on it. All right, what's the deal? It says, let's make a deal. I'm curious. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Glad you like it. I'm actually surprised that Serbian Chef is still there and hasn't sold already. But then again, things have been really slow. Son of Belphegor. Yeah, I hear ya. I'm still curious, Son of Belphegor, what's your deal? You said let's make a deal. right, so now I want to grind those welds before I get much farther. Since I'm here, I'm also going to fix the weld on my post. All right. No new comments. All right, so pretty sure I got most of the weld off of there. And that's just residual from when I tack welded those pieces of steel together to make the billet. Just prefer if I can get rid of that welded material sooner than later, but I do like to make sure it's thin and flush to the surface. Nick Dog, I can't say great because for the past 3 months I've been sick on and off, more sick than not. It's been really difficult. So it all started when I got COVID a few months ago, and it just like destroyed my immune system. And now, like once a week, I get a cold. It seems like. Just getting over another one. Back Friday, I had a random fever, but lost a bunch of weight over the past 3 months, so I can't complain about that. And hopefully I'm starting to get better and get into the clear. Yeah, it is what it is. At least I lost some weight. May not have been the healthiest way to do it, but it was effective. Thank you. somebody made a joke the other day about now that I've lost some weight, that I should start doing some thirst traps. And told my wife, I was like, yeah, I need to lose like 50 more pounds before that's even viable, and I'd still have to wear a mask or a paper bag. Not quite ready. Not too bad. Things have been slow. I think that's partially because I was sick and wasn't putting out a lot of content. I was still getting through my orders and such, but yeah, everything kind of slowed down the past couple months. But we're coming up on the holidays, and the store on my website is pretty full, so hopefully we have a good season. And hey, if any of you are looking for a knife, right now I've got a sale going on, 15% off if you use promo code ENJOY at checkout, all capitals, ENJOY. So 15%, that's pretty good. But I have yet to have anybody use it. All right, I think we got some new people in here. Hey, if you are just joining, welcome. My name's Brock. I am the owner and bladesmith of Woodson Knife Co. Right now I'm working on a San Mai billet. It's 80 CRV2 core. Each side has 200 layers of Damascus. This is going to be a sword. This is not my last blade standing sword. This is a special order. I kind of wish that my last blade standing sword could be this big, because I think I would have gone a little different direction than my plan is, but I digress. So right now what I'm working on is starting to draw that out. This is going to be quite the sword when it's done. It is going to be my take on the Golden Crane sword from The Wheel of Time, which is a book series and now a TV series. I actually saw last night they're coming out with their second season pretty soon, which is cool because even though it's not the best TV series as far as sci-fi goes, I'm a bit of a nerd, so I watched it and thought it was decent. So. Alright, I'm thinking this is probably ready. Oh yeah. All right, we're making some good progress on that. So, I can't remember off the top of my head the parameters for this sword. And they're in my phone. I want to say it's like 36 inches overall. But what I'm going to go for today is just starting to get that drawn out, get the height of the blade. Because this is a San Mai, I'm not going to actually forge in the bevels. I'm going to grind them in. But we can start getting the width of the blade and the length, or at least kind of the general size of it, pretty close. Dimensions of a Carolina Reaper. Well, let me grab one. So the cutting edge is about 1.5 inches, right at 1.5 inches. So the way I've designed it is to go on your ring finger. You can carry like this. Some people prefer that, but I prefer this. So, and what I tell people is, if you carry it, so if you're one of those guys that conceals carry, or even open carries a pistol or whatever, law enforcement, carry this on your offhand, pull it out. Because the spine's so thin, you could still two-hand. Overall length, let me check. Five inches. Yeah, overall length is 5 inches. Wow, it's already almost 11:30 here. Day's already flying by. All right, let me check this billet. All right, so I want to clean that up a little bit. We're going to come over here and utilize the flattening dies again. All right. So again, with this design, because of Sanmai and it's Damascus clad, I'm not going to be forging in the bevels or doing any kind of real shaping of the blade other than maybe the curve, because this blade does have a curve to it. It's honestly, this sword is kind of a mix between a saber, a katana, and I don't know what else. The cross guard on it is kind of medieval looking, but regardless, all I'm really going to do is get the length, the thickness, and everything. I'm going to grind everything else in. Otherwise, that pattern in the Damascus is not going to show up. It's not going to pop. So right now, what I'm trying to do is be really careful that I don't twist or do anything kind of funny to the Sanmai itself. I want to keep it nice and straight as far as the layers go. Even though it kind of gets bananaed now and then, not a big deal. I can straighten it out. That's what we're going to do on the press here in a second. So, all right, hey, if you don't already follow me, hit that follow button. Also, please do me a favor, hit the like button. The more times, the better, because they all count. And the more likes I get, the more likely I am to show up on other people's For You page, which helps me grow. And we are down to 18 people watching. We were over 100 a few minutes ago. So how many reactions are we at? Oh, man, we're 1,200 reactions. Let's see if we can bump those numbers up a little bit. See if we can get to at least 2,000 reactions. So just start spamming that like button. I really appreciate it. Looking pretty good. Okay, we're going to go back over to the power hammer. I don't know how many, sorry, caught up. Tripod caught up on some stuff. I don't know how many run-throughs I'm going to do on the power hammer because I don't want to risk making any thin spots in this. So thin that I can't come back from it. So I'm going to do some run-throughs on the power hammer, at least one or two, and then we're going to switch over to my rolling mill, which will allow me to draw that steel out in a more controlled fashion. It'll also allow me to make that steel the same thickness the entire length of the billet, which is huge. Helps out a lot. Hey, keep those likes coming. We're up to 1,700 likes. Nice. We're getting close to 2,000. I mean, it works. You start hitting the like button, the amount of people in here goes up almost immediately. We were up to 88 viewers a minute ago. It's weird. It's weird how the algorithm on TikTok works, but it's kind of nice sometimes. So I definitely really appreciate the support. So the forge is still at 170 degrees right now. It's a little warm. I'm gonna crank up the air actually. Yeah, that's enough. 2,100 likes, nice. 2,200. Hey, keep them coming. See if we can get to like 5,000 or something. I had a couple lives ago, so 2 weeks ago, we hit like, was it 12,000 or 20? I can't remember. But in like an hour, we went up like 10,000 reactions, which was cool. All right, so we've got the width that we want. Now we've got the length and thickness. All right, just getting it flattened out. I think we might switch over to the rolling mill after this. Yeah, I don't think we really need to go much farther with the power hammer. My concern is overdoing it, getting a thin spot and then start over. That would be horrible. I got a feeling that there's enough steel there that I'm going to be able to make more than one blade out of this, even though this is for a sword. I could be wrong, but we'll see. All right, hey everybody, if you're just joining, my name's Brock. I am the owner and bladesmith of Woodson Knife Co. Right now I'm working on a billet Damascus, San Mai with Damascus cladding that is going to be a sword. It is going to be my take on the Golden Crane sword from the book series Wheel of Time, also a TV series. This is for a special order. This is not for my last blade standing sword, although I did work on part of that earlier today, which was a piece of brass Damascus that I was drawing out and getting ready for that to be the cladding on my last blade standing sword, which I'm going to grab the drawing. It's not the best drawing in the world, because I did it this morning. It didn't take much time, but there it is, the wakizashi. I don't know that the guard's going to look like that. I'm not sure yet. I was just kind of playing around with it. But yeah, so that's what my idea is for my last blade standing sword. At least that's the direction I've decided to take. We'll see. Because I could, when I was trying to decide on which sword to do, because of the parameters, it has to be a shorter sword. The overall length is a max of 27 inches. So I really wanted to do a Viking sword, but it would look funny that short. Could do a gladius, but again, I feel like that's just a little too short for a gladius. Not really. I mean, you can make it work. I thought about doing a sax, but ultimately I think that the wakizashi is going to be my best bet. And it's a design I haven't done before, so it's got several aspects about it that I haven't done before. So no risk, no reward. I better open this up. So for my last blade standing sword, that wakizashi, I know I want brass Damascus on the outside for cladding. I'm thinking Damascus core and copper shims. What do you guys think? So that would look similar to, looks similar to this one. But this has a W2 core, and I wanted to try to bring out the Hamon, which I did a little bit. I wouldn't be worried about a Hamon on the Wakizashi because it would be a Damascus core. What do you guys think? Copper shims, Damascus core, or do like an 80 CRV2 core? Nickel shims, I don't know. What do you guys think? So that billet, and I'm just guessing, is about 22 inches long right now. And I'm just guessing because of where it fits in my forge. And it's still pretty thick. It's like a half-inch thick still. How long have you been making knives? Just over 2 years. My 2-year mark was this past July, the end of this past July. Which coincides with our youngest birthday. But a year off. I started this a year after he was born. So, but I always have to say, I learn things really quickly, and even though I've had no real experience with metalworking or metallurgy before this, it all just really made sense to me. So. My wife absolutely hates that about me. Not really hates it, but it bugs her that I can learn things so quickly. I do this for a living. This is my full-time job as of this past summer. I got tired of working for somebody else, and this was to the point that it was viable, and my employer was doing some shady things, and so I just left. Trying to keep it straight, but it does not want to stay straight. right, we are now over 24 inches long. Thank you. Well, I've got a website. It's woodsonKnifeCo.com. I've got quite a few knives up there on the website. Most of my work that I do is special order. So if you don't see what you want on the website, check out the photo gallery and kind of get an idea of what the realm of possibilities are, because they're kind of almost endless. And you can shoot me a message through the website. But again, it's WoodsonKnifeCo.com. And there is a link in the bio on my profile page for TikTok here. Good bushcraft knife. I've got several on the website. So check those out. If you don't see one you like, shoot me a message. What steel am I working with? So this is a Sanmai. This is a Sanmai 80 CRV2 core, and it's Damascus clad, 200 layers of Damascus on each side. I'm going to straighten this out, and then we're going to run it through the flattening dies. Actually, why don't I straighten it out with the flattening dies? Smarter, not harder. Well, it's a total of 400 layers of Damascus. That's it. That's what I'm doing. I don't typically go above, say, 200-300 layers of Damascus per side. If it's a Sanmai, because I feel you go too far, it starts to look muddy when you're done. The definition just kind of goes away. So like you look at the guys that are doing million layers or billion layers now is a thing, and it doesn't look like Damascus anymore. The only reason you know it's Damascus is because they've got proof videos and such. But the pattern's there is a pattern there. It just, you have to get really close to see the definition, and I prefer to be a little bit more visible. If they look cheap, they probably are cheap, and they're probably from Pakistan. And one of the things that came up this past year with those Pakistani Damascus knives, and we call them junkyard knives, or junkyard Damascus, because they literally take junkyard steel and make Damascus out of it, or at least Damascus looking steel. But the problem that's come up this past year is they found out a lot of those knives are heavily laced with lead, and a lot of them are being used as chef's knives. So not cool. If you bought a cheap Damascus knife and you use it for anything that gets cooked, you might want to check it and see if it has lead. Those lead tests are pretty cheap at Home Depot or Amazon. But yeah, it's a thing. All right, let me get this squared up. be a good 1/4 inch thick still. Camera out of the corner. Yeah, I agree. I have no desire whatsoever to ever do a 1 billion layer Damascus, or even a 1 million layer for that matter, Damascus. I mean, if somebody orders it and they're willing to pay for it, sure. But just on a whim, no. However, that was really good content for him. And I think that's going to be a cool sword. Yeah, I got into knife making in a similar way. Not exactly the same, but similar. Yeah, and those are $35 for a Damascus blade. That's Pakistani junkyard Damascus. Most handle material that you see on a knife costs around an average of $40. And that's just simple handle material. So if it costs the bladesmith $40 just for the knife scales or handle material, there's no way it's going to be that cheap. I mean, you're looking at least a couple $100 for Damascus, and that's if it's a newer bladesmith and they haven't made any kind of name for themselves. But realistically, you know, like my Damascus, I've got some smaller Damascus knives that are like $500-600. There's a lot of work that goes into Damascus and a lot of money, you know, materials. You know, depending on the kind of Damascus you do, like if you're doing mosaic Damascus, you may lose up to 75% of your original steel by the time you finish. Wait, whose shop is the finals going to be at? Norse Forge? Is it going to be in his shop? I'm confused. Because Norse Forge is the one I was talking about that was doing the, what did he do, like 8 billion layers? Oh, okay. In Salisbury. Yeah, see, I'm on the other side of the country. I don't know if I'm gonna, even if I got like really, really far in this competition, I don't know how likely it is I'm gonna fly over there. No. Damascus, so pretty much anything's going to be better than junkyard Damascus, in my opinion. You know, even if it's a cheap 440C stainless knife, I feel like it's going to be better than Pakistani junkyard Damascus. Now, Damascus, like that you get from a bladesmith, like myself and other guys, we're using known high quality steel. Typically that's going to be 10A4 and 15N20. Those steels combined, do they make the knife better? Is Damascus better than a monosteel? Absolutely not. In fact, there is kind of this side of me, because there is a small difference in how 15N20 and 10A4 should be heat treated. It's very small, and some places say there's not a difference, but I have read that there's supposed to be. There is more chance for error in Damascus, not just in the forging process, but in the heat treating process. So it's yet another reason Damascus costs more, is it's harder to do. But it's not sharper, it's not more durable. There's nothing better about Damascus other than it looks really cool. Oh, see, that's cool. Yeah, I'm in Washington State. I'm on the east side of Washington, not Seattle, but the other side. And that's a long flight over in North Carolina. I mean, it's doable, and if for whatever reason I do end up, getting to the point where I should go over there, I will fly out. But I'm not gonna plan on it. I'm not even gonna worry about it until it comes down to it. I mean, worst case scenario, I could always drive over. A few days, be there. I do some tests for durability. I don't do it on every knife, and the reason is I make a lot of knives, and that would take a lot of time. Also, I've got my process down where I can rely on it. Now, I did post a video yesterday of doing a 2x6 chop with a Bowie knife, and that wasn't necessarily to show the strength of the blade, but it's a hidden tang, it's a thin blade, and I've had a lot of people ask, how tough or how strong is a hidden tang knife compared to a full tang? And I whacked the crap out of that 2x6, and it's no damage, not to the knife. And I'll do cut tests. I've made knives that I do bend tests on, and intending to break them, or I've done knives where I'll cut nails with them and stuff, and I'll go back through and I'll fix any kind of scratches or anything on the blade. Now, if it's a special order knife, I won't do that because I don't want to beat up someone's knife. But, I've got one of my first Damascus knives that I did, and I made one for myself and one for my son, because he's in the Marine Corps right now. It's like as dusty as all get out. But I was cutting nails with it and found that there are some spots where it chipped. But I made this almost 2 years ago, and I didn't have the equipment or the knowledge that I do now. But I was cutting nails with it too, so. I have the little file kit, and I use New Jersey Steel Barons heat treat data, and I found it to be really accurate. So long as you're quenching in the right oil and you're not quenching too many blades, I have noticed when I can only do so many blades at a time before the oil gets too hot, and then your HRC starts to drop off a little bit. You can save that during temper. You just temper it a little less, but I don't know what that does for the toughness. So I try not to do more than, depending on the size, if they're really small blades, it doesn't matter as much, but if they're decent sized blades, I'll try to only do 5 or 6 per quench cycle. And then tempering, I still use New Jersey Steel's data, and I feel like their tempering data is right on. So I'll do tests per batch. I'll take a knife and do a Rockwell test on it with my files, and it's always really close. Now, granted, those files are set at 5 Rockwell apart. So you'll have a 65, a 60, a 55, and a 50, and so on down to, I think it's 40. So I'll go to the hardest and work my way down. And I've noticed that it's pretty accurate. Yeah, see, and there's a difference between what you're doing and Pakistani junkyard Damascus, because what they're doing is taking car bumpers and engines, melting them down, making sheets, and forge welding the sheets together and making big sheets of Damascus. And I've seen some videos of it, and I'm not talking like 4x8 sheets, but they're making big things of Damascus, and it's straight garbage steel. I mean, in one video they were throwing in chrome bumpers, like old chrome bumpers, and I'm thinking to myself, is that the bright in your Damascus, or is that going to be the dark? I don't know. It's weird what they do. And the one thing I do like to point out to people is, if you watch those guys over in Pakistan making knives, you'll see a guy, no shoes on, squatting on the floor with, a basic stone grinder, and he's doing better bevels than I see a lot of people do. With a cigarette in his mouth, he's chain smoking the whole time. And if those guys ever were given the opportunity to use high quality steel and high quality equipment, watch out, because I bet they could put out some really, really nice stuff. No, 1 billion layers is 1 billion layers. So folding isn't a thing so much anymore. What we do is cut and stack. The thought of calling it folding the steel and folded Damascus comes from movies. Just like, people calling a fuller a blood groove, or saying katanas were the best swords ever made. It's from movies. It's not real. And if you do a little research, you'll find that a lot of that stuff is garbage. We don't actually fold the steel. Typically, there are certain techniques that there is kind of a fold to it. But when we're doing Damascus, we'll take a bunch of layers. I don't have any out here right now, but we'll take a bunch of layers of steel, clean them up, press them together, forge weld them together, draw it out, cut that stack up, put them together. So say you have say you start with 100 layers, and you draw that out, and you're able to cut it up into 10 pieces. Now you have 1,000 layers. Draw it out again, you cut it up 10 more pieces, and so on. You can get to a really high number really quickly. So that's how that's accomplished. And with Norseforge, what he did is he made several billets, and then they ended up getting combined. And it was really the only way you're going to do that, because you're going to lose a lot of steel during that process of going to 1 billion plus layers. And he went to 8 billion. And I think what happened is what did he say? He had like 2 or 3 billets that were 50,000 layers each, or something like that. And they were still big billets. Cut them up. And yeah, it kind of crazy. And lots of work, and props to him, because it's something I want to deal with. Steel walking cane. I mean, I don't see why not. It would be less of a bladesmith thing and more of somebody that's got a lathe, metal lathe. I mean, you could forge it out, but I feel to make it really clean looking, you're going to want to use a lathe, and then you can heat treat it. You could make it look really cool doing that, because you could come pretty thin, in different places of the shaft, and it's going to hold together if it's heat treated right. I actually was going to do this, and I saw somebody beat me to it, but I was going to make a wand, like a Harry Potter wand, and forge it out and try to make it look cool. But somebody beat me to it, and I just kind of lost interest after that, because they did such a good job. I was like, yeah, I'm not even going to try. But yeah, you could make a walking cane. Ooh, wow, I'm way behind on comments. Sorry. Yeah, putting a hidden dagger or a sword or something in it would be cool. Or even if like the last 6-8 inches popped off, or had just a couple threads so you can unscrew it, and there was a spike or something, or a blade. But in my mind, I picture spike, but I don't know. Yeah, and with traditional Japanese sword making, typically when they're folding the steel, it's not different steels. It's the same kind of steel. They're just folding it in on itself. What they're doing with that isn't for a layer count or anything like that. Each time they fold it, they're getting impurities out of the steel, because true Japanese steel is garbage, and they have to do a lot to refine it. And that's why the Japanese bladesmiths or swordsmiths are so amazing, because thousands of years ago, they figured out they could fold their steel and take garbage steel and make it decent. But Japanese swords were never as good as the movies say they were. A lot of times they would go into battle with 3 weapons. They'd have, their long katana-like sword, a shorter one like the wakizashi that I'm making, and then a small dagger. The reason they did that is they expected at least 2 of them to break during battle. Just kind of how it was. Their heat treat process using water is very volatile, and they're super good at it, but there's still a lot of still a huge chance that the sword or the knife is going to break. It's not going to survive the heat treat. They have to start all over. And a lot of those knives, or a lot of those katanas, take a year or more to build. Harry Potter, Elden Wand dagger. I want to see that. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. Like, my daughter and I, we watch all the original movies at least once a year. We just got done watching them a couple weekends ago. All but the last movie. But we'll sit down and watch, or the last two movies, I think it was. We'll sit down and watch those soon. But no, it was the last one. But yeah, I'd be curious to see what that turns out looking like. Claymore. So this stupid thing, I started this sword over a year ago, and I had a photographer here taking pictures and such, and when I forged it way too thick. And so I started grinding on it, and grinding on it, and grinding on it, and I mean, we're still a 1/4 inch thick, and it's just been sitting on the wall collecting dust. I need to finish this stupid thing, but it's going to take a lot of grinding, and I don't know, I haven't had the gumption to throw belts at it like that, because I know I'm gonna go through a few belts and they're expensive, but I guess part of it's just me being lazy and not grinding on it. No, I can make a better excuse than that. It's because I've been too busy and sick. Nice. Yeah, and like I said, if you have any questions, shoot me a message through the website. Again, for everybody else, that's woodsonKnifeCo.com. And the link is in my bio. James, how you doing? Ooh. Hey man, I hope you feel better. That's scary. I do not know August. I don't recognize either of those names. Yeah, but the thing is, I've had that thing sitting on the wall for over a year now. I need to just do it, but now with the sword, the special order I have for a sword, plus now the last blade standing is a sword, this is gonna wait. $16 a pop for 36 grit belts. Even though they last a long time, I got a feeling I'll go through at least a couple on there, and it's just a lot of grinding, and grinding is not my favorite thing. I don't detest it, but a lot of times when I go to the grinder, I've got a pile of something that I'm working on, and I just don't think about that. Oh, cool. I want to learn more about doing Japanese swords and really about the fitment of the handle and the guard, all that different pieces. And that's part of the reason why I picked this wakizashi for the last blade standing, is because I haven't done a traditional Japanese sword, and so might as well go for it. I may regret it, but we're gonna try it anyways. Yeah, it's you could use a stone grinder, but it does heat up significantly more. Also, when you're talking like a round stone grinder, your surface area on the grinder, you're talking square inches. When you're talking a 2x72 inch belt, you're talking feet. It's just a huge difference. There's a lot more that you can do with a good belt grinder. Different attachments, variable speed, typically variable speed. Being able to go from a 36 grit to another belt, you know, sky's the limit on what grit you want to do, because I mean, they have cork belts, they have all sorts of stuff, but it takes seconds to change the belt, which is really nice. So I always tell people, if you want to get into knife making or bladesmithing, they are different, but if you want to get into this trade at all, the place to start is a good 2x72 grinder, because every blade you do needs to touch that, whether it's profiling, bevels, handle, all of it, sharpening. You know, I used that to sharpen forever until I got my new sharpening system from Broadbeck, and you know, it's basically just a smaller belt grinder. It's a 1x42 belt grinder, and it's just set up different, makes sharpening easier. But yeah, I try to tell people all the time, don't go out and build a forge, don't buy an anvil, start with a grinder and get a good one. I recommend Broadbeck. I am not sponsored by them. I just harassed them and made them send me a banner because I love their products. And hopefully someday they will sponsor me. But anyways, I tell people go check out Broadbeck, because I feel they have the best grinders. Yeah, I mean, you can make a lot of different things work. You know, the thing is, how much do you want to suffer through not having the right tools? And when I got into this, I got that advice: buy the belt grinder first. I got a belt grinder. It wasn't a fully manufactured belt grinder, but it wasn't a cheap home built. The guy who built it knew what he was doing, and it's a good grinder. In fact, I've now sold it to a newer bladesmith, and for his first grinder, because I upgraded to the Broadbeck. And when I started using the Broadbeck, the difference is huge. The quality, the stability of it, and there's just, if you use a cheap one and then you go to a Broadbeck, you know immediately that you should have been using the Broadbeck all along. Yeah, I used an angle grinder for a while as well when I first got started, and I was working on saw blades. I was making ulus and using the angle grinder for that. This one, This one that was not really a mistake, but it ended up getting really thin. And it was for a special order, and then when it got this thin, I changed my mind, stopped, and started over. But yeah, it was supposed to be Firestorm Damascus, and I didn't like the way the pattern turned out. So it just kind of looks like a twisted random pattern. I've got this one and this one from the same billet, and I haven't finished them. I ended up switching it up for that order and making the same designs in Raindrop Damascus, and then right after I finished them, got them back from leather. Customer let me know that they had gotten on hard times and could no longer afford them. So they are available on my website. But, I personally know, well, not really well, but I do know that customer, and they had made some payments, and, they made it right on my end. And so that was nice of them. I don't have an actual storefront, but I have a website. I think the link is in my bio. It's woodsonKnifeco.com. And then I've got a couple displays in local shops. One of them here in Spokane is the Kitchen Engine. And then over in Coeur d'Alene, Jumping Jackalope Axe Throwing. I've got a display in there. Damn, James, hey, you get better soon, man. Keep me informed what's going on. I appreciate it. And be nice to the nurses. And much love to you, man. So my website builder is Wix. If I had to do it all over again, it would be Shopify. And in fact, I probably will switch over to Shopify in the future. I started with GoDaddy and outgrew them really quickly. And when I was doing research, I got some really bad advice to go to Wix. And they have a lot of options, but they're not geared towards this kind of selling. Shopify apparently works a lot better from what I've been told. I have not used it. I've seen some Shopify websites that look really good, but I would say Shopify, Wix, and then whoever else. Hey, you too. Have a good one. All right, everybody. Well, we got done what I wanted to get done, and yeah, we got the sword, the billet for the sword, started to draw it out. I just got to get the parameters and figure out exactly how I want to finish everything, and then I'm going to start drawing it out further and getting it to size. Not today, but I may start next Monday. We'll see. But yeah, and then we got the brass Damascus to the length and thickness I want. So yeah, we did pretty good today. I appreciate you guys watching. And again, if you don't already follow me, hit that follow button. If you are interested in buying a Woodson knife, check out the link in my bio. It's woodsonKnifeco.com. Also, I do a lot of special orders, so if you're interested in that, shoot me a message through the website. And hey, as always, man, my hair, I just got a haircut. My hair still looks like crap. Like alfalfa half the time. Hey, you too. Hey, Steve, how you doing? Steven, I've been all right. I haven't been the healthiest the past couple months, just cold after cold. But hopefully I'm on the way out of that. So, but I was just ending the live, unfortunately. It was a shorter live today. I got everything done. I'm going to try to be doing more lives, all revolving around this Last Blade Standing Season 3 challenge. However, I think I'm going to try to do some of those over on YouTube, which is the platform they're pushing towards. So, Steven, it's been slow. I think you were me in this one. This is a hunting knife. I made this one close to 2 years ago. It's a low layer Damascus, and it's been beat up. I was cutting nails with it a while back, and but yeah, that's my hunting knife design. But yeah, all right. Hey, if you guys don't have anything else for me, any more questions, I'll give it another second, see if there are any. But I am going to be doing some more. No, all right. Although, wait, TikTok is backwards, isn't it? So I don't know if you mean this one, because I think TikTok flips the picture, so you may be talking over here somewhere. I don't know. But I don't have any big choppers on here. I have this this one, the Shun that was given to me because it got broken. So the owner of Kitchen Engine said, hey, if you can fix it, keep it. But it's like cracked up to about here. So I'm going to try to save it just because. Sorry, it's flipped. Okay. So you're either talking about the Shun or this. So this is my first strike design, just a dagger. This is a Hidden Tang EDC design. I kind of messed this one up right at the guard. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that one yet. This is going to be a straight razor if I ever get around to finishing it. But, also, for those of you that are interested in buying a knife, again, WoodsonKnifeCo.com. Right now, I've got a sale going on. If you use promo code ENJOY, all caps, you get 15% off everything in the store. So that's huge. It's more than tax. So if you guys are interested in getting a knife, go check it out. There is a link in my bio. Come help support me. I appreciate it. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I will be back here live next Monday. I will try to get some information out through my Facebook, Instagram, hopefully through TikTok. It's hard to get information out through TikTok. but about when I'm going to be doing lives over on YouTube. So go to the website, click on those links in the top of the website. I've got, my YouTube, Facebook, all that. They're all up there, clickable links. And my Patreon link is on there as well. So hopefully some of you guys will go check that out. All right. As always, thanks for watching. Be kind, much love, and you all have a great week. I'll see you next time.